Background music for this podcast is used with permission from the Hustle Cat soundtrack. If you like it, please check out at SAMMNEILAND or that same name at .bandcamp.com. You can see in the description below. Thank you. Hey everybody, welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal Slowbeef. With me, of course, as usual, is my good friend Jim.
Hello.
My good friend Pullahoko.
Hey.
My good friend TurboC.
Howdy.
My good friend Devious Vacuum.
That's me.
And we are reading a book, a grimoire, a Necronomicon, right?
The Necronomicon.
Necronomicon. What was that laugh for? What did I do wrong?
Did I laugh?
You're referring to the book that Avery's reading and also the visual novel that we are reading at the same time.
Oh, I understand. Got it.
It's good. It works.
No, yeah, it's thematically consistent.
I demand professionalism on this podcast. No laughing ever.
Right. No, it sounded like so. It's like in the middle of that. I was like, what? What was
Edit out all
Slowbeef got the name of the book wrong.
Who wants to take it?
I'm taking it.
You're gonna try to. Okay.
This is my redemption because I remember where we started this time.
Okay.
So, in our last adventure, we had taken to reading the book that we stole from the cafe, right under Graves' nose, and we've been reading it day and night, losing sleep, and learning that it's a book of magic, and that our names are in it, and reading it has allowed us to do magic now. We can use telekinesis, we can make can art, we take a little Coke can and we kind of show off to our cat that we can make a little magic gesture, and the can unfurls into like ribbons and can be reshaped, and we make a little can cat.
Can cat sounds like another internet meme that should be. Hold on, googling can cat.
And also Avery is like kind of like it starts out with just like, oh, I've made this can topple over, and then it's like, oh, now I can like unwind it and stuff like that.
Right, you don't start with the can cat art. You just gotta take your baby steps.
They're like, oh, well, maybe this isn't real, or like, oh, the whole time they're like, oh, well, maybe this is just a coincidence or something like that, and it's like turning into a cat. Okay, learning magic from a book, too outlandish.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand being cursed to turn into a cat, but witchcraft is a little bit out there.
That's a sin against nature.
Yeah, that's not what
like,
God intended.
Yeah.
Cat God.
Cat God, yeah.
Big cat.
So, after we show off to our cat, who is not impressed, because it's not food related, we go to the cafe, and we find one of the cats. Well, we find all the cats kind of just playing around and doing cat stuff.
So, actually, before even that, we have the option of... Avery's hungry and so wants to grab some food, so we have the option of either going to the cafe to grab that food or going to the corner store. And I was looking at the guide we had, and it said choose whichever one you wanted. I went to the corner store, but did everyone else go to the cafe?
I went straight to the cafe.
I did corner store.
Alright, cool. So, the corner store I thought is super interesting. You basically just, go in there. There is a gruff old man manning the counter, and Avery notes, like, he probably seems like a really nice guy once you warm up to him and all that. To which the guy sort of, like, interrupts Avery's train of thought and just goes, so you want a donut or something? So I imagine Avery's just staring at him this entire time, imagining
Oh, yeah.
how nice of the guy would actually be instead of actually ordering fucking donut.
And they're really good donuts.
Yeah, I think he asked for a jelly donut actually.
Then he
But are
giggles
they
to himself
decorated
dork.
like little cats?
Yep.
But
And then
this guy, he immediately, I mean, we are immediately reminded of Mason by this man.
Yes.
And, like, even before we see that Mason is there as a cat, I'm like, oh, is this Mason's dad? And then we look down on the floor, and Mason is there. Mason is a bodega cat, taking a nap there. And while the man is getting the donut, Avery's like, "Hey, Mason!" And Mason's like, and like is upset. And then like the man is back and's like, "Oh, you upset my cat." And so. That's all we get to know about that. I guess we'll learn more about that later.
Yeah, Avery specifically calls out Mason's name, and the cat, which was, I guess, originally just sleeping or something like that, eye shoots open, giving Avery death glare. And Avery's like, trying to be like, "What are you doing here?" and all that. And, you know, Mason Cat is having none of this.
But also, like, I mean, the immediate scenario that jumps to mind is that, like, so Mason's dad, if this is, like, Mason's dad or somebody that Mason is close to, they have a very similar personality. Like, Mason disappeared, right? Like, she can't exist as a person except in the store. So this is, like, a guy whose daughter ran away or disappeared or whatever, and she's, like, trying to stay close to him. I don't know, the whole thing is really messed up, and I totally, like, understand why she would be like, this is my thing, get away from me.
Oh yeah,
Be
no,
mad.
I agree. I actually don't know particularly what happens in Mason's stories, but this, like, scene in and of itself makes me really interested on
Yeah.
doing that one. But we'll see when we, we're dating Finley first.
yeah, and the weird
And
thing is
boy,
too,
do we.
Yeah. Just to touch real quick on Mason is that, like, it's the first time we get a hint that these people have other connections outside, which opens up a whole bunch of questions that hopefully we'll get some answers to later on.
Yeah, we get the people talk about, like, going to their place and, like, you know they have keys that they somehow unlock their door. And, like, it gets into a lot of questions that I have, but they don't dive into it. Like, how do you unlock your door if you can't? Like, do you have a cat door? Does that lock?
Why do you even still have an apartment if you're a cat?
How do you pay rent?
Yeah, wouldn't somebody figure it out if you never went to your apartment for, like, months and months?
And why do you need an apartment?
Well, unless you had a cat, I mean, then they figure, well, somebody's got to be there to feed the cat. Uh-huh. No, alright, but real.
Why does this cat keep ordering pizza every night?
Well, we'll find out about that particular part.
Just like a
later on.
paw sliding money under the door.
Well, you can pay it
Take
all
it,
online now, you know.
It's that scene from Home Alone, but they all do it with the same movie.
It just seems like you know, it's not like this coffee shop makes a lot of money, and Graves would be better off if he just like gave them a place to live. I don't know.
Oh, and this is also the episode that we learn that Grave actually lives in the coffee shop. His apartment is on the 3rd floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
first-
they talk about that shortly after you arrive at the cafe.
Yeah, but when you arrive and say that you went to the coffee shop down the street, like, because you're holding a coffee, Hayes is there and is like, "Oh, you didn't get it from here," and we think to ourselves, "Oh, look at Hayes, secretly kind of a snob. Like, I'm kind of like, aha, he's not just really shy all the time. He has opinions about things.
He has emotions.
Other than fear.
And then everybody starts to trickle in. Landry's there building a ramp. And Finley comes in and asks us what kind of cat we are. She's like, did you figure out, did you find out what breed you are yet? Which, like, comes across as a very personal question.
Yeah.
And so we're like, I don't know.
I don't really see Finley as someone who, like, respects boundaries.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
You know?
She means well.
Yeah, I don't think she's like that, yeah, but no, I don't think she, yeah.
She just takes pictures of people without asking, which is really, like, not great. Finley, calm down.
They're candids.
But Avery's like, I haven't really turned into any cat like being ever since the day that I had the one whisker, and everyone's like, oh, that's weird. I fully transformed within about a week.
And Reese slides in with a sick burn, which Reese comes in and it's like, it wouldn't be the only time Avery was slow on the uptake. And it was like, damn, Reese, damn.
And the good thing here is, like, Avery's like, you were just sitting there waiting to say that, weren't you?
Yeah.
Like, no. He's like, yeah.
It's like, no, literally, I just saw you sitting on the couch just waiting to say something.
So then we find out that Graves lives here. Graves lives on the 3rd floor. And it makes it even weirder that we never see him. And they're all kind of like, oh, well, he has stuff to do during the day or whatever. And we kind of, I think I don't remember when we learn about the stuff that he does, more about the stuff he does during the day.
I think it's
he has
later
stuff
on,
to do.
but yeah,
it seems like they would list that earlier. I don't know.
Like, it gets revealed at some point that he basically has things that he does to help other people with their houses. I think is how they explain it.
Yeah, he takes care of and cleans their houses and they're like wherever they live because they can't while they're cats.
He also manages the adoption of the real cats in the place, in the cat cafe, and he mentioned going to do home inspections to make sure they're a good home.
Yeah. So it's at this point where he's still creepy, but like he's not cruel or anything.
And he actually does have stuff to do. Like they all are like, oh well, he's doing stuff. Who knows, mysterious stuff. But like it's real stuff. He's doing real things.
Yes. And you realize that, like, no one else who works at this place can actually do anything outside of the cafe. So, like, all that stuff falls on him.
So, yeah, so he actually, it shows that, like, oh, well, he must feel bad about this. Because if he didn't feel bad about it, he wouldn't be, like, meticulously cleaning and taking care of their apartments.
It is possible, maybe, that he is not the one with this power, or what, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he's, I don't know, I can't think of the name right now. Do wizards have, like, somebody under them?
Apprentice?
Like an Igor? Maybe an apprentice, or I was thinking someone like, or maybe I'm thinking of vampires.
Like that.
Like, vampires have that human, like a Renfield, who's, like, under them, who can go out in daylight and do stuff for them, and they're, like, subservient, that kind of thing, so, I don't know. Maybe there isn't a name for that. So, assistant, helper,
manservant or something.
I mean, not a job that you could hire, but yeah, okay, sure.
The only thing I know about Sorcerer's Apprentice is they fuck it up when they start to sweep.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That sounds like Graves.
That sounds like Avery. I mean, it's...
Yeah, definitely.
That's totally a Mickey Mouse, like, I can make a soda can dance. This, this is
too many soda
good
cans.
place.
So many soda cats. God damn it.
Yeah, now they're all alive. He comes back. All the soda cats are walking around, wrecking
God,
things.
he's such an...
He's just, like, trying to keep them in the apartment. They're, like, popping out. The doors are bulging.
And then he has his own cafe that he opens up to compete with Graves.
Soda Cat Cafe.
Oh no. So we get to pick out... we get to pick who we hang out with, I think. Like, everybody's got something they're doing. And,
I think Mason arrives and... no, Graves does come by and says, like, hey, I'm ordering dinner for everyone, and then, everyone has something to do.
Yeah, he takes turns, like, praising people.
Well, that's... it's in different order. First,
oh my gosh.
First we do
everything's screwed up.
First we hang out with Finley. Like, Graves comes in and out throughout the day. It's not like, one big Graves thing. So first we get to pick who we hang out with, and this is when we do the nail art.
Yeah.
So first thing in the morning, Finley is like, I need your help. I am going to make a video. I need your help for a video. And wants Avery to be the nails, the hand model for a jelly donut themed nail art video. And Avery, like, they're sweet. Like, they're like, Avery's kind of overwhelmed. And Finley is like, no, just do this thing. She just, tells him to do stuff. And so Avery sits still and is the nail art model, and is the whole like, oh, I couldn't do this on my own. Like, oh, this is so cool, and I couldn't even put nail polish on. I don't have the coordination to do it. And Finley's like, oh, but you're good at this, and we're like, good at what? Sitting still? You're good at this, and she says, oh, but I already knew that. Like, I already knew that I'm good at this. So that was a very Finley moment, I think. Like, where she's like, like. She knows that, she already knows she's good at it, but she's interested in us and what, and learning more about us, and it's sweet. And
it gets her views on YouTube.
And then she calls us her biggest fan, and Avery keeps being embarrassed about that, but it's true. So that's cute. So they make so Avery's getting in on the Jelly Donut franchise.
The Jelly Donut bandwagon.
Yeah, part of the main way the cafe makes money, I guess. Then Graves comes back.
Yeah, and we get a quick revelation here, because as soon as he comes back and starts praising people, we're suspicious of him, and we find out that he can read everything in the book with the bookmark except for the pages with their names on it.
I have to imagine this is because
Wait,
Avery is trying to put the bookmark over their names and be like, this doesn't translate to anything anymore.
And,
Which is a very mean.
Wait, I'm sorry. What? When did that happen? Did I miss that part?
Yeah, he talks about that he's convinced that Avery's convinced that the book is connected to Graves, and because he knows that he's read all this and he's read the names in the book, except he can't read the pages that have the names on it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, and he's just like,
I might have, I might have glossed over that. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Graves knows that we have his book. Like he pays special attention to us. He talks, but like y'all said, he talks to everybody in the cafe and sort of talks to them like the way that they want to be talked to, which seems like an okay manager move. Like, maybe not so much with Reese. Like maybe tamper like tap Reese down a little bit. But Graves refers to Reese's protege, referring to us, and but talks to everybody sort of like in a kind way, the way that they want to be talked to, and tells them all that they're doing great, which is nice. And then Graves talks to us and says that he's on to us, and but Avery doesn't want to talk about the book in front of everyone else, so I guess like nobody like knows about this. This is still a weird thing. Like, why wouldn't they know more about the curse? Why wouldn't they want to know more about the curse? Obviously Reese knows some stuff about magic, so like, does Reese not know about the book? Like, why any of this?
Yeah. And I think the thing is too that like it's getting obvious that book was placed specifically for us to pick up and find.
Yeah, so what is it about us? And like, why not tell the other people there? I don't know. I mean, we don't know. We don't know them well enough. Maybe Graves knows them well enough to be like, they wouldn't be able to handle this like information or power or something like that.
Well, if we tell them we found a magic book, they wouldn't believe us.
Oh yeah, of course, because nobody believes in magic in this world.
We're just cats. We don't necessarily believe in magic.
It's goofy. Yeah, we turn to cats, but like witches, who knows?
I mean, we turn to cats with science. Magic isn't real. And
so then, that's when Graves comes in and says he's gonna buy everyone dinner. Mason's there, and Finley says, without knowing that Mason is there, because Finley's yelling from upstairs instead of coming downstairs, which is also very good. And she says, well, Mason hasn't been coming in on off days as often lately, so I guess this whole bodega cat thing like just is relatively recent. And Graves, so then Graves is like, oh, I got you, here we go, I'm gonna show you this thing, and he comes back with some garment bags, and everybody starts to walk away. Reese just says no, and like Mason just walks away. And we don't even get to see the uniforms.
Yeah.
They describe
They are
it
described as plaid and checkered at the same time.
Yeah.
So, like, I can kind of see it. I mean, definitely it looks like some Hot Topic shit, right? Like, it's like black and white, and maybe maybe purple. Like, for sure. But also, like, I guess because the whole place looks like a chessboard exploded, right? So, like, you would look bad with the place around you.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing
all I
suspenders.
can guess is that it fits a lot with Graves' style himself.
Yeah.
And Graves actually even Graves is like, oh, you guys don't like it, but I got it. I went through all the trouble of, getting it in your size and all that. And he says, well, you should have asked us first. And then he does the line of, it's better to ask for forgiveness. And to which Reese replies, and you say that because you knew we wouldn't like it. Like...
I think at some point Avery describes Graves as like a well-meaning uncle or something like that. Like, that's kind of like his whole place. Like, it seems like he does some stuff that is good for them, but then also does some stuff that's eccentric and embarrassing. And
like, you can kind of tell that he wants them to be happy in some way.
Yeah, but he doesn't quite know how to do that, how to express that. But that's a lot of effort, to go through. And, like, those kind of fabrics are probably expensive because they're weird and nobody wants to make clothes out of them. It's not like you just get that from the store. So Graves takes the uniform and leaves, and Avery is like, oh, I'm gonna follow him and watch and see if I can see him transform into that black cat. But he doesn't. He walks away and continues walking away as a human being.
Yep.
So then, we have the option of either searching Graves' apartment upstairs, which we also learned there's, like, a laundry machine up there, so that's why everybody, like, can go there and it wouldn't be suspicious. Or we can go back to the basement, and we went to the basement.
Oh, I went to the
Finley's
apartment, to Graves'
go
room.
to the basement?
Doesn't
Okay.
matter.
It doesn't matter. So going to the basement shows you if you're playing through this and you're not sure which person you'll get. Going to the basement, you'll meet the person who's going to be your official route person. That doesn't exactly help you because at this point it's still too late to make any changes and everything. But you do know technically earlier. But you also get to the option to go up to Graves' apartment, which it sounds like you did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did.
No, because
did nobody else do
route
that?
actually said... So the route, I don't know how close you have to follow it, because there's only certain things that say +1 point to Finley, but it said in all caps, check out the basement, so I thought that was important.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed that.
It's the last one. The last thing on the route list.
I mean...
Well, I guess I'm locked into the Graves route. I'm stuck with the weirdo.
No, but I actually meant to mention that, because I think when you go up to the apartment, you get to see Graves' cat, actually, if I remember.
You do, yeah.
Yeah. Which is...
I mean, I can run through it if...
Yeah, let's go through that.
So, if you go upstairs to Graves' room, you get to see, he's got it decorated with, like, crystals and stuff, and there's, like, a kind of a cat tower. And there's a cat there, and we're not sure if it's him or not, but it's, it just acts like a normal cat. And Graves comes into the room, and yeah, it's a black cat. It's not like the specialized cat, it's just a regular black cat.
Does it have the two colored eyes or no?
No, it's just got the regular eyes.
Okay.
So, Graves comes into the room and says that the cat's name is it Duchess Dracula, or like some kind of Dracula pun?
Oh my god, Graves.
Yeah. And like this entire time, Graves has his music playing, which I'm gonna say right now is kind of creepy. I don't know if anybody agrees with that or not.
I don't
You mean
remember.
you mean his theme?
His theme.
Yeah, his theme's
okay.
creepy. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like it legit sounds like something that could be shown in like, somebody stalking you or something.
Yeah. It starts off like very Castlevania.
Yeah. So we talked to Graves and we kind of, put our cards on the table and be like, look, I took your book. I've been reading it. And he's like, yeah, I know. And we kind of put it to him. It's like, well, I'm going to try to learn, what's going on from this book. And Graves isn't like upset or anything. He's like, well, yeah, you're cursed, but, I can't help you. Or no, it's like we ask him, why aren't you helping us? If you really want us to be happy and you're doing all this stuff for us, then why aren't you helping us? And he's like, well, we're all cursed in our own way. So I think at this point it's kind of suggested that Graves isn't really the mastermind behind this, or at least he can't affect things in a direct way. So that's just about it.
Interesting.
Still really vague.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God, it's
Maybe
so big.
he's cursed to not be able to help everybody.
Maybe he's cursed
Yeah,
to never
like
say
we-
a damn thing straight.
Well, yeah, we never get a straight answer out of him.
So if you go to the basement, Avery goes down to the basement and is like, I'm gonna search for witch stuff, but like the whole basement is witch stuff, my dude. Like, look at that picture. There's like a skeleton and a geode and like things in glass bottles. Like, come on, it's here. The witch stuff is here.
Which stuff?
Which witch stuff?
That's a dad joke.
And so, because I guess because Finley, we're on the Finley route, Finley comes down to the basement also and is like, oh, one time I played Silent Hill and I got a jump scare in a basement.
That's exactly what I put in my notes. I literally put the same thing. I forget what they call it, like Walnut
It
Street or
doesn't
something.
matter.
I'm like, it's
It's
freaking
Silent
Silent
Hill.
Hill.
It's Quiet Mountain.
So Finley, it's basically like Avery's like, oh, I got stuff, I got, has a goal of like, I'm gonna find stuff, and Finley just kind of goofs around with us and flirts with us, and we get all distracted, and then we leave. Like, it's, and Finley shows, I think, no, that's not it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just kind of goof around and flirt in the basement and then leave. And so at first I was like, was she distracting us from finding something? But I guess now that I know what happens if you go upstairs, this is just like there wasn't anything to find there. It's just only romance to be found in the basement. We go back upstairs and are kind of like, well, that was a bust. And then Avery plays with some cats and is overcome with a powerful nap.
Like, it just apropos of nothing, just drops everything. Just, I feel like playing with some cats right now.
It's a little weird. Like, I mean,
feel like
it's
this...
not weird enough to be like, oh, this is a magical thing, but like, it's especially weird that Avery, like, is overcome with this desire to take a nap. Like, I mean, I've been overcome with a nap before, but not after just like a normal day.
Yeah, and like straight up passes out to the point where like Finley's like stacking cat toys on top of him.
Yeah, and then we wake up and Finley has covered us in cat toys. And took pictures, and we're like, don't put those on the blog!
Yeah, was intended to put them on the blog.
She's like, I won't put them on there, fine. Today. And Graves is back with dinner, which, like, waking up from a nap and immediately eating dinner doesn't sound great. Ugh. But yeah,
But
Graves
it's
got
Thai
everyone
food,
Thai
and
food.
I would, yeah.
Yeah. And then, oh my gosh, this scene is adorable. Graves gets up in front of everybody and is telling them all stories about when he was young, which is adorable. And we learn that Reese's dad was friends with Graves in college.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, Graves went to college. Second of all, like, so this implies some things about Reese. Like, is Reese, like, so when Reese is, like, sees himself as an apprentice of Graves, like or is also interested in witchcraft. Maybe he has some extra knowledge about that because his family knows, their families know each other.
Really, what I want to know is what Graves majored in.
Right?
Like chemistry? I don't know.
Animal
But we did also
science?
know that he was in a band.
Yes, Graves was in a band. Reese's dad was not in the band,
But apparently was a big fan.
Was a big fan. And there was another person in the band who had a mohawk who is implied to be a witch, so maybe that's the real villain. The only other witch mentioned so far.
Yep.
My favorite part about this entire thing is everyone making fun of Graves' band. Well, making
Just
fun of
constantly.
Graves and,
Yeah, like, at this
speculating on
point-
band names.
At this
And
point,
nothing
Graves,
can top the actual name.
Yeah, Graves just flat out cops to being a goth in college.
A real
And-
goth. He was way more goth
Yeah.
back then.
Like a super goth. I've settled down in my old years. I'm not quite as much of a goth as I am now, but
I like how they ask him why he changed. He's like, well, you know how long it takes to do the makeup.
He just doesn't have as much time anymore. I guess that's the equivalent of like, well, I'm older now. I don't have as much time to play video games as I did when I was young.
Yeah, it's like getting the mom haircut.
Oh my god, Graves. Graves
So
is
they're-
great.
they're all taking stabs in the dark at what his goth band name was. And
Even Hayes.
Even Hayes.
Yeah. it's like,
Even
"Andrew
Hayes. I want to reinstate that. Even Hayes.
Yeah.
Who,
The sick burns were fast and furious.
Yeah, up to this point has been just almost too scared to speak on almost every occasion. And then they finally, Reese outs it, and it was Spider Coven spelled with a Z. No, spelled with an X.
They ask,
And if you're wondering, listening at home, where the X fits in that, the S in Spider. But I
Oh
just
my
love
god.
that.
And Reese knows, and then Reese is like, let me tell you about a song that they have. And he goes, it's called Rose Baptism, and I don't remember the lyrics that were in French. Which is so good.
yep.
Everything about that is so good. And Reese starts to recite the lines, and like Graves is mortified, and it's really,
Did anyone
it's sweet.
write down the lines?
No.
They're so good. I forget them. But Reese basically mimics it, and he goes. I think there's. I don't know. It's sort of your sort of standard emo, very stereotypical emo, lyrics. And I remember Reese going, I'm so sad. Something in French.
Yeah.
Like blood red soul rind.
Yeah.
French.
And I think at some point one of them, I think Finley says, like, well, everyone was in a band in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, that's their cultural understanding.
Also,
It's
it's
really
not that
cute.
far inaccurate.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah.
And they all have a lovely time.
Yeah, and like Avery sort of sums it up at the end where he's like, he sort of alludes to the fact that, this was everybody having a good time, and even Graves was playing along. It wasn't so much that he was actually mortified as he was, mortified. He was like playing the fool, and it's a fun kind of bonding moment for everybody.
Yeah, and Avery says that they understand why nobody's mad at Graves now. That it makes sense. And that Graves is a sweetheart and obviously like cares really deeply about all these kids and all these cats and cares very deeply about things in general, but just can't really
But he's just
communicate
weird.
it. Yeah, it's really sweet. It's sweet. I like it. Graves is still my type, is what I'm saying. And then we have an abrupt mood change as Avery starts walking home and starts to feel creeped out. And sees a rusty old bike that wasn't there yesterday, but looks, like it's all rusted. So it's like looks like it's been there for ages, but it wasn't there before. And as we keep walking, we see a spooky dude under a streetlight, and we're like, ooh, who's this guy? Well, I'm just gonna keep walking.
at first we kind of look at him and be like, well, he's just kind of hanging around here. Maybe he's lost. Maybe I can talk to him and give him directions. And he turns around and looks at us, and we just get instantly creeped right the hell out and just turn around and like basically run away almost.
Yeah.
A lot of people also, he like doesn't appear to be very old but has white hair, and we have like canonically silver hair, and so it makes me kind of think like, is that related? Is that like a magic thing?
Yeah. And so does Graves have, well, I guess gray, but it's
Graves is just old. It's hard to
Is
tell.
he,
Graves
it's
just
tough
an
to
old
tell though
fart.
if it's just if it's actually just his age being indicated, or if he's got like that grayish silver hair.
Well, I mean, he's got like the kind of wrinkles on his facial features too, so I think he's canonically just kind of older.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, he's old enough to have been in a band in the 90s.
That's not that old.
So he is
Does
at
this
least
take place in the
27.
present day? Does this take place, or does it take place in like the near future?
In the
Like,
year
are-
20XDX.
I have to imagine it's sort of like present day.
Yeah, I would say roughly. Whenever this game came out, what, like 3 or 4 years ago? I forgot when already.
I think it was 2015.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, I would
So
guess
I
it's
guess-
probably supposed to be set in 2015.
So I get, but he's got to be at least 40, right? Like,
Yeah, that seems about right.
yeah.
Too old for you, D-Vac?
That's a personal question, first of all. No, I just I'm trying to think, because like my PhD advisor was in grad school in the 90s, and I'm like trying to place, and she's like in her late 40s, and so I'm like, where is that on the scale of like cultural stuff? Anyway, we see the spooky dude. Oh, we get, so the spooky dude like starts to follow us, but then we go into our apartment and he keeps walking. So we're like, oh, okay, phew. He wasn't actually following, he was just heading in the same direction or something like that. And then all of a sudden we go out of character.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, and we get some out of character knowledge that the man goes to the cafe and he leaves a rusty handprint on the metal door across from the cafe. So he is a witch. Or some sort of rust
Or
witch.
a ghost.
Or
Or a
has
ghost.
really dirty hands.
Yeah. I'm putting my money on Ghost right now.
Did we mention the bike, by the way? Or did
Yeah.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
it's
something.
really weirdly phrased too. It's like if we had stuck around, we would have seen the guy go to the cafe, stare at it, and leave a rusty handprint on the shutter across the street. Like, okay, it's like, is that hindsight? It's almost like it feels like the narrative just switched forward, and now is like talking about the past.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it seems like something that would have been better suited to just a series of pictures.
Yeah, or have Avery, like, go there the next morning and see the handprint? Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's just a
Strange.
really weird tonal shift where it just becomes, unbeknownst to our hero, the creepy guy went to the door and left a handprint. It's really jarring.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of intentional to let you know this guy is important and villainous.
So Avery just kind of lets that hang, and so in the next morning is when Avery makes the sculpture, the cat sculpture.
Yeah.
Before it was just like, here, I can fuck up this can. Now it's an actual sculpture.
Yeah, and like I think
I
we get a time
misremembered
shift
it again.
Yeah, like we just get weeks go by now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
because
oh,
Avery's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I've been spending more, time there with everybody. One person in particular. Okay, yes, you have a crush.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing is, I guess that more and more rusty garbage has been accumulating across from the cafe.
Yeah, kind of like stacked. Just like stacked all up on
but
top
the
of each
towers,
other.
like a tower of rusty metal, is near the bike.
Yeah, and we go past it, one morning, and Graves is there, just kind of looking at it, and we like offer to help him move it, or just be like, if you know who's doing this, then we can like make them move it, because this is like littering. It's
Yeah, Avery
driving our
approaches it,
business
like,
down.
like, oh, this is just normal. This is definitely not, like, anything witch-related or magic-related or sinister at all. And,
Yeah, he gets so pedantic
like,
about this. It's, like, ridiculous. Like, come on, man. Come on. Just, don't be like, oh, no, there's a pile that must be litter. Yeah, come on. We understand what this is.
And Avery goes to move the bike, and Graves grabs her hand and is like, don't touch it! So, it's anti-magic something. Or something is what I think. Some kind of curse. Some kind of rust curse. I would totally believe it if Avery had touched that bike, then Avery would have started to rust or something like that, right?
It goes from, like, a really cute visual novel to, like, he just starts rusting from the inside out. His, like, insides just bubble out and shit.
We haven't seen how the cat transformation works.
Yeah, we've made, like, special, like, anytime anybody transforms, we always look away.
And then so Avery keeps trying to press Graves about this rusty stuff and what's going on, and Graves won't say anything, and Avery's like, you're so opaque, and Graves says, I've been hearing that since before I could speak, which could be a comment about how Graves was a very mysterious baby, or further evidence that Graves was a cat first.
Yeah.
So Graves keeps insisting on not telling us anything, like, and it's like, it's implied to be like to protect us or to protect the people in the cafe, but it seems like if there's some kind of witch conflict going on, it would be better to tell everyone because they're going to be threatened, and if Graves fails to protect them, then they're going to be totally vulnerable.
See, I hadn't thought of that. I just kind of placed it on, it's like a curse, or the guy's a ghost or something, but I hadn't really thought about, like, evil witches coming in and being, like...
No, magic users are never evil.
Like other witches.
The rust guy might... Yeah. The rust guy maybe has something to do with the curse, or maybe it's just, like, a rival witch. Like, maybe that's the guy from the band, And they, like, had a falling out, and it's, like, totally separate. I don't know.
Maybe he's just jealous because the cat cafe's really taken off and the rust cafe's not really doing so hot.
Yeah,
He's
weird.
just really mad about the name Spider Coven.
Or if you really think they had a future. Like, man, we were going to get signed and everything, and you ruined it by starting your cat cafe. You sold out, man.
I threw my life away buying all these Spider Coven t-shirts and bumper
and then
stickers.
You had to sell out with a cat cafe.
I've got 55 boxes of t-shirts in my attic. What am I supposed to do with those?
So when the workday starts, Graves shows up and in the cafe later in the day and is basically, they say like he's doing security stuff, or Reese is like, you're doing security, and he's like, yes, and or like maintenance or something, and Reese is like, oh good, because like the drain is clogged, and he's like, not that kind of security, and like goes around and puts like magic wards up and stuff like that, and Avery's like, oh, I don't know if this is real or not, he's moving his fingers around on the wall, but like, I don't know, maybe he's just trying to look busy. Yeah, see, he doesn't buy it either.
No, I'm gonna edit that out, so I can't now.
And so Avery still like doesn't believe in magic, and it's like, Avery, come on.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, it's something vaguely arcane, dude. It's freaking magic.
You are turning into a
It's literally arcane. This is magic. So it's finally time to talk to someone about this damn book. Like, finally. And this is also a great scene, actually.
Can I take this one?
Yeah.
Because I really like that, he goes
good.
up to Finley. I'm not sure if this changes in the route, like if you're not on the Finley route, you talk to somebody else.
Yeah, probably.
But he goes up to Finley and is finally like, look, I have something to tell you. And she's like, oh, okay, what is it? And he's like, no, not here, not in front of everybody. I need to talk to you privately. And she says, oh, really? And he finally comes out and says, look, I took this book. And she has this immediate, just disappointed reaction of, oh.
She's like, you could just say it.
Yeah.
And then the best is because, like, he notices she's like, oh, we know what, we'll talk about in the basement later on. And then he notices that she seems disappointed, and then he goes, I must be imagining things. It's like, my dude, no. She has a crush on you too. How are you not picking
And
up on this?
she knows that we have a crush on her, and she's like just waiting for us to say something. Like she seems like she's been orchestrating this whole thing from the beginning.
The reason he doesn't pick up, this is like anime protagonist syndrome.
Yeah.
Yes. I think in my notes I put she seems disappointed, but why? Because anime.
Even though it's not, well, whatever. I don't want to start a debate.
It's not. No, I know.
No, it's going to touch off a debate in the comments, so.
Oh, God.
So we go to the basement and turn a soda can into a cat for Finley. And she's impressed. This also, I think, confirms that nobody else can do any magic, I guess. Or, like, well, I mean, maybe Reese can, who knows. But, like, she can't do any magic, but she is still... Like, she still turns into a cat, but she, like, doesn't get any magic from that. She's just cursed.
Well,
it doesn't seem like the staff
levels.
talks about magic or does
also,
magic in front of each other.
Like, it makes me think, like, oh, well, so is Avery, like, a natural-born witch or something like that? And that's why we're not turning into a cat like Graves? It doesn't turn into a cat? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I'm thinking that... I mean, we had that day where we started to turn into a cat, and then we started reading the book, and then that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
So
and we've got
I'm guessing,
Mochi, who kind of seems like a familiar, because I think Mochi can talk, but it is choosing not to right now because it freaks us out.
it's just doesn't talk unless it has, unless there's food involved.
Mochi's just like, mer.
Well, I mean, look at our protagonist. I mean, I think that's called for.
Yeah, it's true. If I was Mochi, I'd keep my mouth shut and just keep getting the food.
Like, this fucking guy over here. Am I right, folks?
I like how
Doesn't
Mochi
even
just
know when
is
a girl
grumpy
likes
cat.
him.
Mochi is just, unequivocal grumpy cat.
I'm imagining him with, like, or not the grumpy cat, but, like, the lasagna cat voice. Where he comes home and he's all like chipper as I took this book, Mochi, and Mochi just like turns to the camera and is like, that's great, John.
So Finley responds to us showing off magic by being like, I want to learn magic, like I want to read the book and learn magic, but Avery doesn't want to teach her magic here in the basement when she's human. Because what if what if it's still Graves and like this is all a long con? And so Avery's like, well, come over to my apartment and we'll talk about it there. And Finley's like, oh, you're so forward. And Finley's like, and Avery's like, I'm an anime. And she's like, no, it's fine. I'm gonna be a cat now. And she turns. Oh.
No, I was just gonna say it's funny because I guess I don't know if I was reading on the play and I skimmed, but like. I actually didn't pick up right away that, well, I should say, like, when they were going back to when they talk about going back to the apartment, I'm like, this is gonna be, maybe a love scene kind of thing. Not realizing, I don't know if we want to reveal it till it happens, but it's pretty obvious what it is, but, like, I didn't pick up on what was going to happen at the apartment.
Yeah, she's got it. Well, so they leave, and Finley turns into a cat because
right.
They left.
That's what I didn't pick up. And then I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be weird now." But
it's
very
weird.
It is.
Maybe I was a cat.
Avery
It's gonna be a
carries
lot
her.
harder.
Avery carries her to the apartment, and it's weird. And
she
Avery's
requests
like, this is
to be
weird
carried.
and intimate and weird.
it's so weird.
He requests to be carried too.
I mean,
because
he does acknowledge that this is weird. It's like, well, it feels like I'm just carrying a regular cat, but I'm not. I'm carrying a person.
They're doing their best to not make this weird under the circumstances. Oh, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Well, but like, also there's no precedent for this situations. Like, what are these social norms when your girlfriend turns into a cat? Like,
Well,
I think there's a little bit of a situation where you go, oh, maybe this isn't weird because everything's just fucking weird about this.
but
Weirdly,
just give it a little time.
Avery,
It's gonna get weird.
Weirdly, Avery Avery has played a lot of visual novels that have a similar premise, but not quite the same one, so they're not really sure what to do.
This is not your Avery's girlfriend. This is kind of like a first date-ish type of thing.
I mean, it plays out, like, obviously not like a real date, but like a kind of a date.
Right, and it's totally odd, is my point.
Like, it's a date in the same way you could date Papyrus.
I don't know that I agree with that.
It's taken a long time to get here. Like,
Post your opinions about Undertale in the comments.
No, it's fine.
No, don't do that.
No, it's fine. Whatever. Hey, it's engagement. I mean,
oh my god.
I'm gonna invite my friends from GameFAQs over to join the comments as well.
Hey, it's better than Zelda.
well, now you did it. I mean,
Oh my god.
Hey, you want that engagement?
I do think it's...
So I think they're dating. They want to date.
Yeah.
Like, they want to smooch.
And to be fair, it's not literally like a first date in the sense of like the normal first date where you're getting to know someone. Like, they know each other, you know, this is kind of like they have the crush on each other type of thing. So it's typically like, I guess I'm saying it's not like a blind date or like that first date when you've just met someone kind of thing. It's like somebody you've known for a little bit, I guess. Well, how long have they known each other now? A couple weeks?
Yeah, it's more like just like come over to my house and hang out, and there's maybe like a little bit of flirting.
It's it's also kind of like, you know, the thing where you're like you're friends first, but you've always been flirty, so it never gets like full on friendship, and then you actually go on the thing that's like, is this a date? I kind of think it's a date. And then like, you know, somebody like platonically spends the night over or something.
Yeah.
That's what the situation we're in.
Only she's a cat.
But it seems like Avery's the one who's like surprised by all of this, and Finley's just like has had a crush on Avery the whole time. Like, Finley's like this like, I don't know. I also you kind of get the impression that she's been telling the other people that their coworkers about this. Like, she's probably been talking to them and is like, oh, so I have a crush on Avery, and they're like, oh, you know, you should do this. Like, I can totally see that whole scenario. And it just seems like it took an anime amount of time to get to this point because Avery continues to be like totally oblivious.
That's actually the unit of measurement for dates in this scenario. Is it's like they've known each other for like 2 animes.
That's so long.
Especially when, like, from the very beginning, she was just smacking him over the head with, "Hey, I think you're cute. You should probably ask me out."
God, she is very patient.
Yeah.
So they arrive at the house, or they order pizza. Finley meets Mochi, and Mochi can tell that she's not a real cat, and thinks that's super weird. Avery takes pictures of Jelly Donut and Mochi together, and Finley's like, oh, you know, Mochi can become internet famous too, and like Avery's like, nah, but also like, yeah, Avery really wants Mochi to become internet famous, and like Mochi does not. What else? Finley, at some point she explains that, like, whatever she, like, when the transformation happens, because, like, we were like, why do they have to go into the other room to transform? But apparently when they transform, they're still wearing all their clothes, and they're holding whatever they were holding, but they sort of, like, go into some pocket dimension or something like that.
Yeah.
Because she can't, like, check her phone, but if she has her phone in her pocket, then it's there when she turns back.
Basically, Animorphs rules.
Yeah.
I never watched Jan.
Oh, damn. Animorphs rules.
Is this like, I guess, like, her body goes into, like, a Pokeball, and then it's just, like, sort of reopened? I don't know what metaphor to use here. I never watched Jan.
It's magic.
I think this was pretty much the writer's way of being like, this is magic. I'm not going to explain really too much about what happens. Their clothes are going to be on their body.
We're not making it weird,
It is
folks.
truly, though. I mean, it's truly an irrelevant detail in the sense of, like, you could possibly write around it, and I could see an actual, like, I could see an Uchikoshi game. Like, I could see Ever 17 actually giving you, like, an 8-page...
Like the whole scientific...
Right, like, They are changing clothes, so
explanation.
there's special rooms that they have to do it. But what happens if somebody peeks? Well, no one would peek because of this. Well, how does the cat get out? Well, there's a one-way cat door, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And, like,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like, you could see that happening in Ever 17. But, yeah, no, like, I think it is kind of one of those things. It's like, you know, if you want to think through it, you can, but it's really not important.
Yeah, because, like, there's, like, the classic things where either, like, the werewolf who ends up naked in the morning every time, or, like, you know, this explanation, which I think happens a lot in sort of fantasy literature when people turn into animals, which is just like, I don't know, my clothes disappeared, and then when I transfer them back, they just appear back.
That's fine. It's better, honestly.
Yeah,
like, let's not get bogged down in that.
You don't need to, like, wake up naked every time.
Right. And also, like, I like the lighter the story, the less you have to worry about things like that. It's like, it's immaterial. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So then they eat pizza together, and Avery's sort of like being confronted with the reality of this cat curse, like, more than maybe they thought about it before, because, like, he's like, well, here's a pizza, I guess, and can you eat pizza? Because you're a cat. And she's like, I'm not a cat, I'm a person. Like, I still want to eat pizza. But then she has to eat pizza as a cat. Also, Finley likes a very spicy pizza, and asks for Tabasco sauce all on her pizza slice, which surely makes it even more difficult to eat as a cat, because now it's covered in sauce.
I hate food snobbery. So I just want to preface it, but, like, if you like a very spicy pizza, I hate to tell you, but Tabasco sauce ain't really it.
Oh my god.
Come on. I mean, really, like, Tabasco sauce is, like, step one on I like spicy foods. Like, there's a lot of people, you know what I mean? Like,
They're like 20.
they're like 20. Okay, fair.
No, this does. Where is the person in this game who has good taste?
I know.
Please point them out to me.
And also, here's the rude ass thing.
Braves.
Like, she's your guest. Cut the pizza up, asshole.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Help her
Chop
out.
Yeah,
Make a
chop it up
bite-sized
into,
bits
like,
for the
cat-sized pieces.
For your cat girlfriend, maybe.
God.
Exactly.
Your cat date.
And she's, like,
Although-
pawing at it into a mess and just slurping at the cheese, and she's like, don't look at me.
I know, what a jerk
Although,
he
like,
is.
Avery kind of strikes me as the person that wouldn't have utensils. Or at least wouldn't have clean ones.
It's their aunt's house, though. I don't know.
Their
Avery's
Aunt
an
Mochi.
Yeah, but his aunt is, like... Yeah, his aunt is away, and he's just letting the house go to hell.
He's 20. I guess that is true. But yeah. No, it's rude as shit.
Good thing Avery's not a cat, because that house would be even worse if Avery was a cat.
Indeed.
So Avery
Stop
talks
reacting
about
to the baby. Sorry, I'm joking. It's fine.
You gotta leave the baby in every time we react to it.
I'm just gonna make sounds so that other people and you can edit those in.
So Avery tries to explain magic to Finley, and Finley's like, where does it come from? And Avery's like, I don't know. It's just whatever is around. And Finley's like, so your magic is based on trash? And
Avery
man,
just starts feeling really bad after that. I was like, oh, I guess
so
I do have
good.
a problem.
Like, I forget how exactly they explain it, but, like, the gist of it is, like, magic comes from something that you have, like, a connection to. And I guess because he's just around a lot of trash, that's why his magic comes from trash.
And Finley, like, puts a positive spin on it and is like, oh, but that's good, like, that's more, like, it's, like, resourceful. It's like you can make anything out of whatever is around you at any time, and, like, that's really cool. And Avery's like, oh, yeah, I guess so. Trash magician.
Trash wizard.
Which you should be like, wow, you must really like me if you came up with that explanation.
Right?
Seriously.
And then Avery's like, oh, well, what, you know, do you want to talk about yours, like, your inspiration, your magic inspiration? She's like, no,
That's fine.
because
I'm
it's
good.
love.
I don't think it is, but yeah, I hear you.
Or it's something, or yeah, it could be something really, like, secret, personal. I mean, we still don't know why
I
she's
think
here,
it's-
like, why she has.
I think it's fame, personally, but that's just me.
Oh,
But anyway, sorry.
so mean to Finley. She's
Who,
so
me?
sweet.
What if she just really likes YouTube videos?
I don't think I don't mean it in like a vain way per se, but some people I think do gravitate like toward that, you know, like that sort of like attention seeking kind of person. But I guess that obviously can be negative, but you know, I don't know. Some people are an open book. I'm just saying. Not me. Fuck everybody, but you know.
Oh yeah, okay. So they try some magic together, and they use it to prank each other, basically, like to bother each other with magic. And they do that for a long time. And they stay up late, and they have fun. And Avery falls asleep. Every time Avery describes falling asleep, it's like so sudden and uncontrollable, and like such a bizarre phenomenon.
Yeah.
I don't think Avery gets actually good. Avery has sleep apnea, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Avery doesn't sleep well.
But I feel like that's a big video game.
So Finley stays over as a cat.
Yeah, and that's when it gets a little weird, because Avery wakes up and she's still there, and he wonders aloud, "Were we spooning?" That's when
I don't think that was allowed.
Well, not allowed. Sorry, no. He wonders in his head, "Were we spooning?" And then she's like, "Oh, the arm of your sofa sure was comfortable. Like, hey, I wasn't all up on that."
So Avery's like, "Does this count?"
No.
Oh wow.
It better
No,
not.
Avery.
I mean, you know, there's laws.
He's like, "Is that sleeping with a lady?
Are there
Did I
laws,
just
though?
sleep with a lady? Is that what happened?"
Are we dating now?
What base
What's
is this?
Yeah, it was cat base.
Base. Oh god. It's like in the dugout, and there's like a little Anyway, forget it. I'm sorry I went to this metaphor.
Sorry, I'm just imagining cats playing baseball.
You are the most innocent person, Tula.
There's no rule that says cats can't play.
Well, not in the
Yes, the spin-off ball cat, baseball cat,
Bat Cat.
bad cat.
All of these cat dog spin-off franchises are just terrible.
Yeah, God cat, bad
Catcher
cat.
in the ride.
It's right.
Okay,
The most depressing of all.
So Finley uses Avery's computer, and this is where we learn more about what Graves does during the day. That Graves goes to all the cat people's houses and keeps everything tidy, and
He got her a
they can't
mechanical
clean the
keyboard, which is
humans.
cool.
Yeah, Graves got her a more old-fashioned keyboard so that it was easier for her to type as a cat.
Did she talk about, though, when she woke up, she was reading some comments, like, from social media?
Yeah, that's the next thing.
sorry.
Yeah, we
I
get
got
into
it.
that.
Do you want to talk about it?
I actually had thought it had happened earlier, so I'm mixing up the timeline here. But what the thing that struck out to me, though, is that, is that here now? She's reading the social media stuff?
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like, from what I recall, and again, I was on a plane, so, but she was, like, she seemed, like, put off by it for some reason, and Avery sort of asked about it, and she just mentions something about internet trolls, you know? And she says, like, she kind of, like, brushes it off in a way, like, yeah, there's just some people who are jerks or whatever. I feel like, though, wasn't there one comment in particular that bothered her, or that he noticed? Or Avery noticed?
So
Yeah.
they talk about, like, oh, the trolls are kind of funny like that, and they say dumb things, and so there's one that that bothers her. But before that, she even says one out that says, "LOL, I hate that females try to man certain faces that try to look sassy, but it doesn't work at all." Which I loved reading that out loud.
That sounds real
Yes.
as heck.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, it really
like, I
does.
wonder if that's
I am
real.
sure they probably got that from an actual comment somewhere.
Yeah.
But as they're sort of reading through these, stupid comments, Avery notices Finley's eyes sort of narrow, and then quickly scrolls past it. But not before Avery sees the comment, which is in all lowercase, "I'm coming to see you."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
Jelly Donut has a stalker. And wouldn't you know it, as they approach the cafe, some nerd in a hoodie is loitering outside. It's a different nerd than the scary rust witch that we saw earlier. It's just someone in a black hoodie outside, and so they go around the back way instead. And we don't really hear that much more about that before our reading ends, because we go into the kitchen, and Finley transforms back into a person. We walk into the kitchen together, and Mason clocks us immediately.
Yep.
And is like, you were at Avery's house, huh, Finley? And Finley's like, don't tell everybody about it. And Mason is like, heh, like she's proud. It's really cute.
Yeah.
The end.
So I just imagine Finley, like, dumping all this on Mason every day, right? Like, when
Mason's
Avery's
the
not
confidant.
around.
Yeah,
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 I
being
picture-
like, I don't know if he likes me or not. Like, he's sending me such mixed signals.
You
Yeah,
see
I picture
like,
Mason
chopping
as like
something.
the best friend.
Yeah, Mason just being like,
Yeah.
just tell him.
What do you think? What do you think I should do? Well, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think you should do?
Yeah.
It's cute.
I guess just now into overview phase, like, I don't know what to think about the stalker character, because it's odd to have an animal stalker, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if it's somebody who knows that it's Finley.
Right. I mean, you can't really blackmail her if you knew that, you know? Because who the hell would believe you? But, I mean, I've heard a lot of those creepy internet stories, you know, to know that stuff's, like, pretty scary, so, yeah.
Yeah, this was a pretty real, I mean, like, surface level, but still pretty real description of, that this is Finley's problem, like, in this arc, like, this is gonna be the problem that's specific to her, and, all of us know that stuff. So, it's a real thing, and I like how she handles it also. Like, she didn't seem like she was in, like, denial about it or anything like that. She was just kind of, like, aware of it, and she doesn't need I feel like she doesn't, like, Avery feels inclined to protect her, but she probably doesn't need Avery to protect her, which is nice. It's not like, oh, save me from this weirdo.
The impression I got is that she just completely acknowledges that, yes, this is my problem. It's fine. I can deal with it. I know how to deal with it. I don't worry.
Yeah. And she probably, will ask for help or need help, but hopefully it's not like a white knight shining armor kind of thing where it's like, oh, you saved me from the scary internet, man.
Well, I mean, the one problem though is that if any of this happens outside of the cafe, then there's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, that's, Avery's probably going to be the only person to fill that role, because, I mean, she's a cat.
Mm-hmm. I hope that if they do get into a confrontation about it, then they get to use magic.
Or Finley knocks something on the stalker's head while maybe Avery is struggling with them, and she gets up on a high shelf.
I mean, there's definitely ways you could hurt a cat, but there's also a lot of ways that a cat could fuck you up that a human woman could not.
That's
perhaps.
a pretty good point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anybody who has a cat and has been on the receiving end of just like a really bad set of scratches can probably.
Anyone who's tried to kidnap a cat can tell you it's not an easy.
Yeah, like you can barely even get him to, like, if you try to put a cat where it doesn't want to be, good luck.
I mean,
we'll see how
I don't know
that goes.
how many people in the audience have been in that situation, but no.
I'm always shoving cats in places they don't want to be.
Right. My drawer.
DM me for tips.
That's it.
Well, it seems like if you have a cat, I mean, I don't have a cat, but it seems like if you have a cat, cats just don't like to do things you tell them to do in an unpredictable way.
It's mostly like if you have ever tried to give a cat a bath and you're one of the 99% of cats that don't like water, then yeah,
You can.
it's gonna be a rough time.
Just in the way cats move, like they don't move like other animals. They just squirm and
They're very.
And got really sharp claws if you don't trim them.
Yep.
So we'll see how that turns out.
So
next time.
for the next one, I'll admit I don't have a set plan, but just estimating where we are at in the story based off of what I know, I think we could actually finish up Finley's route for our next session. Sort of getting towards the climax. And if not, we'll of course make amendments to the reading list if anyone thinks that's too long as we go through it. But we're at least getting pretty close.
Yeah, this was one of our longer sessions, and we're still at about the same amount of time.
Yeah.
We've gone for like an hour and a half, hour 40.
Oh, no.
Oh,
He
not-
means
longer reading.
I was gonna.
same amount of podcast.
Oh no, I was gonna be like, trust me, buddy boy, I edit this stuff. This ain't no. Okay, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, I feel like I mean, I wasn't timing it really, but I felt like enough happened that we'd have stuff to talk about. So, yeah, okay. So next time we'll do that. Is there anything we wanted to talk about or bring up before we wind up, as they say?
Who do you want to date
Theories
next?
and all that.
Oh, who do we want to date next?
I kind of want to date Mason just because Mason seems like the one, like, what the hell's going on there?
Yeah, if we don't find anything out about Mason, I want to find out what's going on there.
Yeah, just because, like, the hints that we've been dropped are weirder. Like, I just don't know Landry very well, or I guess Reese with his dad, but, like, and we know nothing about Hayes.
I feel like we should leave Hayes for last. That's...
Because he's your favorite?
Yeah. That said...
just in case it's something
Right.
shocking.
Well, the problem, of course, too, is it's random to me. Like, I have no idea, so I don't want to build something up like, let's leave Hayes for last, and then Hayes is just like, yeah, I'm just really shy, there's nothing to it. You know, like, so, I don't know, but, I don't even know, like, how to really decide that. Is it just, you know... if I had to... I mean, yeah, I don't know. Honestly. I would say Landry just for the sake of we don't know anything about Landry. The thrill of discovery, as it will. I'm not trying to convince you over. You can stay with your Mason vote. Maybe we can get a 5-way tie or
Go with your crappy Mason vote.
Yeah, I'm most intrigued by Mason out of everyone. I guess first Mason and then Reese. Yeah, I think those are the ones we'd like know the most about, or like have the most open questions about, and want to see what the deal is. And you know, when we go on another route, we might learn more tangentially about a different character that we didn't know as much about
That's
before.
fair.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think finishing up, will, you know, that we will get more interaction with the characters, so you guys might have different opinions when we finally finish up Finley's route. Or you might say the same, who knows?
Because we don't know if we cure the curse or not.
We fucking better.
not.
I will say there's I think a decent payoff in terms of like getting to know a little bit more about what's going on each route that you do.
I'd like to stay in the dark. I want to be able to criticize the crap out of this thing. So you don't have to cushion any blows or anything for old slowbeef.
All right, well, Landry's route is completely awful, and I have actually not played Landry's route. So, no.
I thought you were the expert.
Well, I think comparatively.
Now my vote might change because because Turbo hasn't played Landry's route.
Oh, crap.
We'll see.
It's okay. We're gonna get to all of them
That's
eventually.
true. Pula, who do you want to do next?
I want to do Mason.
Okay. Then, well, I think
Okay, but what route do you want to...
The Mason route.
Alright, so is that 3 votes Mason? That wins?
Yeah. I mean, this isn't like we're not in the council meeting.
I know, but I mean, just saying.
We'll see.
We're also one session early on that. We're still on Finley here. Let's not toss you to the curb this
People
early.
in the comments, you can make cases too. Who knows? We still have one more early, but okay. All right, that's fair.
That's true.
Is that enough user engagement? Can we sign off?
I guess. All right. Well, thanks.
We didn't mention Dectalon.
Shut up about Dexalon. He's dead to me. No, I'm kidding.
We didn't see Finley's gun in this episode, but we're waiting. We'll see. We'll learn
did
more about
see
Finley's
some-
gun next time.
We did see some funny Finley faces, though.
Yeah, her faces
The
are so
F3.
good. They're so relatable.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.